So today we'll discuss about structure of cell. So important function, important components, plasma membrane and organelles. So organelles such as nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum. So in that it consists of smooth endoplasmic reticulum as well as rough endoplasmic reticulum. Then it consists of ribosomes, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, and cytoskeleton. So these are the various components of cell. And in last lecture, I have discussed about plasma membrane. So plasma membrane, which is made up of phospholipid bilayer. In that phospholipids, which consist of a head, which is having hydrophilic head. Hydrophilic means water loving, means water soluble, easily soluble in water, and hydrophobic tail, that is water hating, which is not soluble in water. Okay, so this is about plasma membrane, and then we have discussed about their functions, such as it protects the cell, it separates the cytoplasm and intracellular fluid, then it provides abundant surface for chemical reactions, and it regulates a passage of material in and out of the cell. Then second important thing is that organelles. So in the organelles, first we have discussed about nucleus. So nucleus, which is the important organelle of cell. So nucleus, which controls and regulates the activities of cell. Then important second organelle, mitochondria. So mitochondria, all we know, it is known as powerhouse of cell, because whatever the energy which is produced in a cell, that's stored in the mitochondria. So this is second organelle. Then ribosomes. So ribosomes, these are tiny granules which composed of RNA and protein. So that ribosome, which is mainly essential to synthesize proteins. So this is ribosome. Then next we have discussed about endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum, it is again a double membrane channel, and it continues with nuclear membrane. And the important function of that endoplasmic reticulum, that is intracellular transportation as well as detoxification of some poisons or some organic chemicals. So this is about endoplasmic reticulum. So it consists of smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Then we have discussed the next organelle, Golgi apparatus. So Golgi apparatus, it is also stacks which is closely to the nucleus, closely to the endoplasmic reticulum, and that Golgi apparatus, which is important for storage of proteins, which is produced in the cell. So that Golgi apparatus, which stores the proteins in vesicle, and as per the need, it transport that vesicles out of the cell for their functions. So this is about Golgi apparatus. Then next organelle, lysosome. So lysosome, it is again a small membranous vesicle, and which is pinched off from Golgi apparatus, which is produced by Golgi apparatus. And function of that ribosome, it consists of variety of enzymes, and that involved in breakdown of fragments of organelles and large molecules such as RNA, DNA, carbohydrates, proteins. Lysosomes also responsible for defense against microbes. Okay, so that lysosomes in white blood cells, which mainly responsible to digest foreign materials such as microbes. Now last organelle, that is cytoskeleton. So cytoskeleton, it is the seventh organelle of the cell. So cytoskeleton slide is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes.
okay, now mute yourself. So cytoskeleton, so it consists of an extensive network of tiny protein fibers. Means inside the cell, it consists of some protein fibers, and that function of that protein fibers, which can transport the message from one cell to another or from outside to inside, because our cells are closely attached with each other. Suppose epithelial cells. So epithelial cells, that cells which are based, which is present on a base membrane and which is closely attached with each other. And through this cytoskeleton, they can transport their messages from one cell to another. Means it consists of a thread like protein fibers in the cell, and that mainly responsible for transportation of message. So you can see the image which is below shown in slide. So here a red color circle which is showing the cytoskeleton, so that consists of some here like protein fibers. Okay, so this is about cytoskeleton. So the cytoplasm has a complex internal structure which consisting of series of exceeding small microfilaments as well as microtubules, also intermediate filaments, which together referred as cytoskeleton. Means inside the cell, inside the cytoplasm, there are some consist of some fibers such as small microfilaments are there, then microtubules are there. These are nothing but the protein fibers, as well as there it consists of intermediate filaments, and that collectively known as cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton is a structure that helps cells maintain their shape, internal organization, and also provide mechanical support that enables cells to carry out essential functions like division and movement. So look at the function of cytoskeleton. So first of all, important function is that cytoskeleton responsible for maintenance of structure of the cell, structure, that is shape of cell. Then it also mainly responsible for internal organization of cell. Then cytoskeleton helps to provide mechanical support to the cell, and through this mechanical support, that cell can produce cell division or cell movement. Okay, so do you understand what is the function of cytoskeleton? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, very good. So mute yourself. Now we will go for next point. So next point is that transport of substances across cell membrane. So this is new point we have to discuss today. So some of the substances which is transported in the cell. So what is the mode of transportation? Means how they transports inside the cell. So I think maximum students which is having biology in their 12th class. So that knowledge you have previously gained, but I will explain. So we will discuss about transportation of substances across the cell membranes. So transport of substances across cell membrane, which takes place in two ways. In that, first way is that passive way, and second way is that active way. Okay, means the substances which can transported by two ways. First through passive mode, and second through active mode. Simply, passive mode means that not requires energy, and active mode which requires energy. Okay, remember, passive means no energy, active means it requires energy. So passive transport movements which occurs without using energy, whereas active transport consumes energy in the form of ATP. Okay, in passive transportation, there is no need of energy to transport the substance, but through the active transport, it requires energy in the form of ATP to transport in the cell. Now first, we'll discuss about passive transport. Means, yes, passive transports. What is passive transport?
Without using energy.
Yes, very good. So movement of substances without using energy, that nothing but the passive transport. So now we will go for passive transport. So passive transport, this occurs when substances can cross the semi-permeable plasma and organelle membranes and move down the concentration gradient without using energy. So what is down concentration gradient or downhill?
From higher concentration to lower concentration.
Okay, very good.
To lower.
Yes, yes, good, good. From higher concentration to lower concentration. Barobar. Means that passive transport which can occur from higher concentration to lower concentration. So passive transport which consists of three subtypes. In that, first is the simple diffusion, then second is that facilitated diffusion, and third is that osmosis. So we'll discuss one by one. So first, passive transport. In that, diffusion, passive diffusion. So passive diffusion, which refers to the movement of molecules from an area of high concentration to the area of low concentration, that is down their concentration gradient, and that diffusion is mainly occurs in gases, liquids and solutions. Example, oxygen, oxygen which is transported by passive diffusion. Then some of the fatty acids, steroids, which can pass through diffusion process. Simple. Down concentration gradient means higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, so look at the image. So here, extracellular space and intracellular space. So that plasma membrane, one side of plasma membrane which is having more number of carbon dioxide, CO2, and intracellular, it consists of less number of carbon dioxide. Means that transportation which is occurs from higher to lower. Means extracellular CO2 which transports towards intracellular space. So this is about diffusion. So example, lipid soluble materials such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, fatty acids, steroids, which can cross the membrane by dissolving lipid part of membrane, which can easily transport the membrane. So this is about passive diffusion. So do you understand passive diffusion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will go for the next, facilitated diffusion. So this is the second subtype under passive transport, facilitated diffusion. So this passive process, which is used by substances that are unable to diffuse through the semi-permeable membranes, but they can transport through one of the channel, one of the proteins on the membrane. Examples such as glucose, amino acids. But during transportation, they doesn't require energy for the transportation. Okay, it requires channel for transportation, but it not requires energy. So that is known as facilitated diffusion. Means it requires channel for transportation, but it not requires energy. And again, the substances which is transported from higher concentration to lower concentration. So examples like glucose and amino acids. So in the plasma membrane or cell membrane, so specialized protein carrier molecules in the membrane have specific sites that attract and bind substances to be transferred, like lock and key mechanism. Means the proteins which are embedded on plasma membrane, it consists of a channel like structure. Means the substances which can binds that protein, and that protein which transport the substance inside the cell, but higher to lower. You can see the image. So here one plasma membrane is there, and again it consists of a channel protein. And look at the extracellular space and intracellular space. In green color it consists of substances. So higher concentration to lower concentration, there is transportation shown in that image. Okay, so this is about facilitated diffusion. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. So facilitated diffusion, which occurs by using a protein channel from higher concentration to lower concentration without using energy. Okay, so this is about facilitated diffusion. Do you understand? Second,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
This
Yes,
slide
sir.
is visible. Osmosis.
Yes, sir.
Osmosis slide is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now next, third subtype under passive transport, that is osmosis. Simple. Osmosis means what? The transportation of water through the semi-permeable membrane. So, such as water, alcohol, which can be transported through the osmosis process. So, osmosis is a passive movement of water down its concentration gradient towards equilibrium across semi-permeable membrane. Okay, means again same, higher concentration to lower concentration, which can easily cross the membrane, because our plasma membrane, which made up of number of phospholipid bilayer, and in that it consists of a tiny pores in between that two phospholipids. So water and alcohol which can easily cross that membrane, so that transported through osmosis. So you can see the image. So in the image, so in blue dots, that showing the movement of water from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this is about passive transport. I hope you understand passive transport. Now we will go for active transport. So active transport, what is active transport?
Uses energy in the form of
It's
ATP.
energy.
Yes,
Using of energy movement through energy.
Require of energy of substance
yes,
or
yes.
the substance.
Good. Yes, correct. Means by using energy in the form of ATP. So in case of active transport, the transportation which can occurs, their concentration gradient uphill. Uphill means what?
Lower to higher
Lower to higher.
Higher concentration.
Yes, correct.
Higher concentration.
To higher concentration. Okay, so that's why that substances which can transport lower concentration to higher concentration. So that's why it requires energy in the form of ATP. Okay, because in passive we have discussed about downhill, means higher to lower, and there is no need of energy, but through active transport it transport from low concentration of substances to higher concentration. That's why it requires energy in the form of ATP. So chemical energy in the form of ATP, which drives specialized protein carrier molecules that transport substances across the membrane in either direction. Okay, means both directions, from inside to outside or outside to inside, but by using energy in the form of ATP. Again, it consists of some of the channels on the plasma membrane, and through this channel, the substances which is transported in or out of the cell by using or by consuming energy in the form of ATP. The carrier sites are specific and can be used by only one substance. Therefore, the rate at which a substance is transferred, it depends on number of sites available. Okay, means one protein which carry one substance. Example for active transport. So example of active transport which include a transportation of sodium out of the cell and potassium inside the cell by sodium potassium pump. So the cell which consists of all the cells which consist of sodium potassium pump. Suppose neuron. So neuron which consists of sodium potassium pump on their membrane, which can exchange sodium and potassium. Through that channel, it exchange sodium and potassium. in air or out of the cell. So now we will discuss with the diagram. So look at the active transport. So look at the diagram. So transportation of substance from low concentration to higher concentration. And for that purpose, here it requires energy, and that energy which is consumed in the form of ATP. So first image, which is showing the general. So look at outside, it consists of 3 molecules of substances which is entered in the cell, and there is consuming of energy. Second image, as I have told, example of sodium potassium pump. So in that, which is sodium effluxed out of the cell and potassium influxed out of inside the cell, means sodium goes out of the cell and potassium comes inside the cell, and that transportation in and out of the cell which requires energy, and that energy consumed in the form of ATP, and that ATP which is converted to ADP. Okay, that is adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate. Okay, so look at right side image. So transportation of sodium out of the cell and potassium inside the cell by sodium potassium pump. So this is about active transport. Now you understand what is active transport?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now last part is that third type is that transportation endocytosis. Third type, endocytosis. So some of the particles which transfers of particles to large to cross membranes occurs by pinocytosis or phagocytosis. Okay, some of the microbes which can again transported by endocytosis process. So transfer of particle to large. Okay, some of the particles, some of the substances or their molecular weight is high. That high molecular weight substances which can transported by endocytosis process. So what happens in endocytosis? Look at there. So in that first one, we will discuss 2 points: pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Pinocytosis means liquid material, transportation of liquid material, that is cell drinking. And phagocytosis means what? Solid materials like cell eating. So that larger proteins or particles or substances, these particles are engulfed by extension of cytoplasm which enclose them, forming a membrane bound vacuole. Okay, means one substance which is present near the cell, but they can't transport by active or passive transportation. So such substances which are transported by endocytosis. So our cell make a engulf near the particle, and through this engulfs it eat that substance. It takes inside the substance. So pinocytosis, which allow the cell to bring in fluid. In phagocytosis, larger particles such as cell fragments, foreign materials, microbes are taken into the cell. And after entering in the cell, lysosomes then adhere to vacuole membrane, releasing enzymes and which digest the content of cell. If there is any microbes which entered in the cell, then lysosomes which do their work, which can inactivate that microbe. Okay, and if any essential substance is there, so it useful for our cell. Again, after completion of work of that substance, it again expelled out of the cell, that is exclusion of waste material by the reverse process through plasma membrane, is called exocytosis. Means whatever the waste materials in the cell which can expel out of the cell, and that expelling which is known as exocytosis. So best we will understand in next image. So look at the image. So next image, next slide is visible. Endocytosis. एक slide दिसते तुम्हाला पुढची.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you will better you will get better understanding through this slide. So in the A, you can see cell, and near the cell it consists of one larger particle. Then second image B, that particle which is engulfed by plasma membrane. Then C, there is formation of vacuole, means it means that particle which is covered by one membrane. Then look at the D image. After that, adhesion of lysosomes to that particle. After adhesion, lysosomes do the digestion of particles by lysosomal enzyme. And last, after their inactivation, that particles which again expelled out of the cell, that is in F image it shows exocytosis. Okay, from A to E it consists of phagocytosis, and F it